I just hate it so much, man.
Dude, wait. You don't like the dynamic team of nutting it up tonight, the KSer, I'm incontinent, suck my. What happened to Shane? Where'd Shane go?
Bro, I'm just too old for this shit, man.
Honestly, same. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
I'm too old to care, and I'm too old to like. I don't know. I feel like I'm also too old for it,
hmm
but my friends still play it. And
Yeah.
sometimes you just wanna hang out with the homies on Valo.
I don't know, man. I never get that feeling.
You never just want to hang out with the homies.
No, because Valorant's a bad game, man.
You know, I don't know if the game is bad. I feel like the culture is bad.
Mm. Mm. Bars.
Bars, damn, preach, brother. God damn.
Saying the culture is bad makes it sound so much more offensive for some reason.
But it's true. Have you heard of like Valorant, like what's the word, like Valorant tone, Valorant accent?
Uh, it's
I
it's the way
can't.
people talk, no?
It's the way people talk. No, we're going B. No.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah,
just entry. No.
it's so weird the sort of like convergent evolution of that type of way of speaking in video games.
Damn. Okay, Mr. Biology. Yeah, the convergent evolution. Damn straight it is. No, no. I think it's true. Well, I think it's because content creators like listen to each other, and
Mm.
then they're like the loudspeakers for the masses, and like I
And
don't
the
know. Even
Ouroboros devours its whole tail.
literally, it feeds on itself.
hmm
Yeah, I don't know.
hmm
It's because I used to watch, and I still sometimes do, like YouTube videos, like Tarek, who's like used to be a big like CS:GO pro, and now he's basically like a Valorant content creator, and yeah, he
He
is
used to
like
be a GoPro.
used to be a CS GoPro,
Oh yeah, of course.
computer science GoPro, and
Yeah, right.
and yeah, now he just streams Valo, and he's pretty entertaining, but yeah, he is like thick. He's like thick Valo accent.
Thick Valo accent.
Yeah.
That's such a conceptually funny statement.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind
Is
of
he's a Valorant American.
yeah, he identifies as Valorant American.
It's really
Damn,
unfortunate.
it is really unfortunate. I don't know. I feel like most something about just online competitive games, especially like FPSs, it tends to attract more immature, toxic like groups. No.
Do you think a nice bookend on that
Yeah,
statement?
thank you.
Do you think? Okay, never mind. This isn't a. I feel like this may not be a question you're prepared to answer.
Oh my! Well, I like those kinds of questions. The
Well,
worst thing I can
no,
say is I
no,
don't know.
no. Mainly because it's like I don't think you would know. But do
Oh,
you think, like when we were growing up,
yeah.
like online safety was a big concern,
Mm,
and like there was a lot of stuff about like oh behaving safe online, like
right.
don't talk to strangers, don't add random people, don't like strike
Totally.
up conversations with random people
Yeah.
online. Um, do you think that's something that's missing right now for today's youth?
I like how you're like, oh, you're not prepared to answer it, as if I could give you like a real technical explanation
I
of
don't know,
like,
no, because it's like I know you don't have like
yeah,
family members that are close to you and also
at
like
all. Yeah.
younger.
No,
So
yeah, and younger. No, that's true. Yeah, like I don't have like cousins or nieces or nephews or like
yeah,
anyone who's like really a kid right now.
yeah.
I think you're probably right. I think there's probably been a change in perspectives,
hmm
and it's not necessarily a good thing, but I think my dad is still really big on like cyber like security and like safety and like what information you put out and all that kind
hmm
of stuff. But I think part of this is like, capitalism bad, but like I think corporations have more and more given us the option to trade security and privacy for convenience, and the world has just like taken it more
Yeah.
and more. And so like and I'm guilty of this too in a sense, right? Like, I log on with Chrome, my go-to browser, because it's what I use and it's most customized. Like, I just like it, but also according to my dad, is like one of the least secure browsers out there. I'm like, cool, bet, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I've been mulling over switching out of Chrome for a long
I hear
time.
I hear Firefox is chill. Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
used Firefox when I was doing the internship, and it worked really
yeah,
well, and it
yeah,
didn't eat up your RAM like some sort of
yeah. But it doesn't have my
hungry
cool
thing.
little themes.
I'm sure you could find something like that on
I'm
Firefox.
sure you could, but something about it. It's hard for me to switch. I feel like they have me
Mm,
right
You're
where they want me.
you're old and set in your ways.
I'm old and set in my ways, and like I have my own profile. But like even aside from Chrome, like I just like on Chrome, like it has all my passwords, and on like Gmail, like obviously I'm smart and have good cybersecurity practices, and so I use a unique password for my Gmail, obviously. But like that, like access to most people's Gmails will like give someone access to like most of their information.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. I've been
Yeah.
thinking about making like shell accounts for
Like
What's a
different
accounts?
shell
things.
account?
Yeah, like no, just like an account that is tied to things that aren't important,
Hmm.
like e-commerce stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know that's not really what a shell account is at all.
Is
But
e-commerce not important? I
well,
don't.
it's like there's like social media, like having different stuff, different accounts for like email I use for social media accounts,
Right.
or email I use for e-commerce, or like email I use for like actually professional communications. I already have
Totally.
one of those, but
Yeah, I actually do too. I have a Gmail that is like supposed to be for like science stuff. And
Eva.science at
the
gmail.com.
scienster at
Yeah, the
no.
science.
Um, well, I'm obviously not gonna leak it here, but like, uh,
What if our listeners want to
Media.
send you some science
some
articles?
science articles they can. I literally. It's funny you mentioned this. I literally made an email account for the podcast the other
Oh my
day.
god.
Yeah.
See, you know what I'm talking about then.
Yeah. I don't remember what it's called. It's either we should hang out more at gmail.com or it's Teva and Friends at gmail.com probably. And I don't know what it is. So
Well, that's all of our brand deals
that's all
going
there
to
goes all of our brand deals.
yeah, there goes all of the lucrative podcast money.
Yeah, very, very professional.
Mm.
Very professional here. But we were talking about the like
Just
so,
cybersecurity. I don't know.
yeah.
Like
I think it's fair to
I'm
have shell
online.
accounts. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. I was
Yeah.
gonna say that like trying to do that, I have realized I've always fallen back into just going to my default Gmail account because I use Chrome, and every time you log on to Gmail, if you're synced with your Chrome and all that information, like you're just gonna open the same Gmail account every time, and you have to
That's
actually
so
go into like
convenient.
I know you have to go into like an incognito window to like adjust that.
Hmm.
So it's annoying.
Interesting. Yeah.
How are you doing, Eric?
My throat is going worse again. I
Your
don't know what's
throat
going
is
on
the
there.
goat. Oh, maybe
It
it's because
is
you were up so late playing Valorant.
so late. I
So
know.
late, yeah, you're up so late into the
Yeah,
wee hours. I see Kalopsia posting at 11 p.m. Look at you, you degen.
Oh no, 11. Oh, on a Friday. Oh,
11 p.m. on a Friday. That's bedtime, bro.
yeah,
we're
it's
going
sleepy time.
That's
crazy out
sleepy
here.
time. Yeah, that's fair. How is your experience with the healthcare system, Eric?
Honestly, I would love to say that I'm well versed, but that was like the first time I've ever even tried calling into like Kaiser in particular.
Yeah.
Because when I was sick, I legitimately just there was a certain point where I was like, I'll get better, and then like a week later, I'm like, wow, I'm not better. That's crazy. So I was like, you know what? With the amount of coughing that I'm having, I was like, I'll call in. And honestly, turns out if you call a 24-hour line at like 11 p.m., no one's actually on the line, or like no one's on like hold, like they're just there. So I was able to get like the help I needed in like 20 minutes.
Oh,
Which is kind of
okay.
sick.
That you said two things that meant the exact opposite, one after the other.
Yeah, I realized, and that's why I
Yeah.
corrected myself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're like no
Yeah.
one's there on the 24-hour line. That seems pretty bad.
Yeah, no, yeah. Like,
There's
no
no
one's
way.
actually, there's
Yeah.
no hold time. You just call and you're good.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
surprised you didn't just go into an urgent care because
that's
I don't know,
scary.
talking to someone about your medical stuff over the phone where they can't like take a look, they can't like be like, hey, say ah, and all that shit. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, say
Wait,
yeah.
watch me. Watch.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, you're good.
I can definitely tell how inflamed you are
Ah.
About to make me
visually.
inflamed.
Yeah, was it super helpful anyway?
It was kind of comforting. I will say though, I did have this particular experience where the doctor I had was kind of potentially saying like, yeah, vaccines actually make you more sick. I
That's
like it
the
was
medical advice that
Dude,
I
I cannot wait for
Oh,
this
boy.
episode to once again have the label of COVID-19 facts. For more information, please click here. Like our first episode did because we called it COVID
Oh.
Cup.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was just kind of interesting because they were saying like, oh yeah, there's been some studies done where actually like coincidentally out of that research they found out that there was a correlation between those who were vaccinated and those who had more severe symptoms. But yeah, I was a little odd. Like that might be true. I didn't look up, and they did cite some of their like studies. Like you can search this up and check it out. I didn't, because I forgot what they said. But it was one of those things where I still felt mildly uncomfortable because I was like, wow, this is oddly like someone trying to justify that you shouldn't get vaccines. And I was just like, I don't know how comfortable I am with this, but I was open to listening to them because it is true. Science can be weird, and things can happen where it's just a little bit unforeseen. So I'm willing to, entertain that, especially if research comes out later. But yeah, that was still a bit of an odd experience. So yeah, great time calling in for
Yeah.
medical advice.
This is something that I think is interesting. As our resident scientist,
Yeah, tevidonscience@gmail.com. Send an email, everyone.
yeah, Teva.science.
He loves when he gets emails.
About science. Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like it's one of those things that I don't think a doctor should be like saying to a random patient because it sounds to me like it's pretty preliminary research, and I think it's in science it's important to like hold the ideas that like, okay, we're seeing like some sort of effect here, but if we don't actually understand what's causing it or what's doing it, like, there's a statistical effect and statistics are important and maybe there's something there. But I think you can hold that separate from being like, oh, so this means this is true. Like,
Yeah, they said they did the research.
Yeah, they're like, wow, great, I found one study that tells me this thing.
yeah,
It was two. Maybe.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
wow.
it's like I don't know if you remember, there was like a famous like ad or bit or something where it's like a woman going to a doctor and being like, I think vaccines cause autism, and the doctor's like,
Mhm.
here's the 1,000 studies that say they don't, and the one study that says it does, and she grabs the one study and it's like, see, I knew it, I knew it was there. So
Ugh.
like obviously I'm actually not an expert at all on this like mRNA vaccine technology, and I think with some of that there may be some effects or downstream, like, I don't know, side effects or ramifications that we're not fully aware of. So I think it's important to keep an open mind and look at it. But like historically, vaccination has been such a powerful boon to like humanity, and we don't even think about it, but like we don't like infant mortality is so, at least in the Western world, whatever, it's like so relatively low. And a big part of that is we vaccinate against so much of the nasty shit that like just kills people so young.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for example,
Measles is coming back.
measles is coming back.
big
You
one.
know, you know what else is also coming back?
What is
Mumps.
Teva and Friends podcast.
mumps? What
Mumps.
if, dude? Imagine what could be next. Rubella?
Rubella, yeah, MMR, the MMR vaccine. Yeah,
wild.
So speaking of mumps, I tested positive for mumps a little
Wait.
while back.
Really?
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, guys, I'm a medieval peasant.
I can't believe this. Next thing you know, you're gonna tell me you have scurvy too.
It turns out Teva is the true medieval peasant in the group.
Dude, how the irony
How the irony.
after me
tables.
mocking the pores for so long.
Yeah.
No, I have a bit of a story for y'all. It's like a saga. I feel like we've all had our fair share of healthcare shenanigans in the past like month or so since we last recorded. And
Boy, have we?
yeah, so
Yeah.
I have a bit of a saga. So in February, like mid-February, I had my first ever bout of TMJ. I don't know if either of you are familiar with TMJ.
Is that like is that lockjaw?
It's
Is
kind of
that
like it's lockjaw related. It has to do with like the muscle in your jaw, and it basically like can spasm and tighten. And so I had
I'm
this.
just mewing too hard.
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah. Sorry,
But
go ahead.
I think I was eating too hard or something. I don't know. But I had this bout of TMJ and basically went to the doctor, got all that sorted out, and it was a pain. It was super annoying. It was like really hard to eat. I'm thankful to be a student, and like there's this like student health and wellness center at OHSU which like you can go to, and basically like going there is essentially free. So that's super nice, right? I've already been like buffered from like the nastiness of the healthcare system a bit. Um, but so I go through all that in February, and then in March, I basically get like a similar thing, but it feels even worse. And like, so I have this like, kind of pain on the left side of my face. Um, and the left side of my face also starts like swelling. So like, and I'm not a doctor, but I feel like you don't mess with facial swelling. So I'm like basically at the student health and wellness center like every week for like a few weeks trying to like figure out what's going on. I get like an x-ray, I get like an ultrasound. um and the doctor, as I'm like talking with him through all this, he's like, yeah, it's so weird, like I don't know what it could be, like it doesn't seem like it's just your TMJ, it could be like a parotid stone or something. I guess we should test for mumps anyway, just because like it would be stupid not to. Like you have your face looks like the image when you look up mumps on Google. Maybe we should check it out. So we do that. And then I basically go and get my mumps test, and I test positive. I'm like, what? And as everyone does, I started Googling like, what is mumps? Because like I haven't heard of this shit in like years. I'm like, it's a disease, right? But like, what is it? And it is, yeah, it's part of the MMR vaccine. It's a disease which is an infection of your parotid glands. It usually involves like facial swelling on both sides, and most people get it in childhood. In fact, when I told my dad, he was like, "Oh yeah, I had that shit. That was awful." And I'm like, "Wow." Isn't it crazy how almost nobody gets it today because of vaccines? Isn't that great?
So how did you get it then?
Yeah, so there's a part two to the story after I test positive for the mumps, which is people have no fucking clue how I have no fucking clue how I got it. But I get a call from someone at so basically Portland is in the Multnomah County in Oregon. I get a call from someone like affiliated with Multnomah County. She seems super nice. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm like a registered nurse. I actually do a lot of work with contact tracing. So like when COVID-19 was a big thing, I was like calling people and like trying to track down cases and like manage exposures and that kind of thing. And your mom's case really stood out to us. So now we're looking into that." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Very
Patient
cool.
zero.
Literally everyone was joking. It's like, "Bro, you're patient zero for some weird like version of mumps." And they basically like asked me a bunch of questions like where I was during certain periods of time, if I had like, been exposed in any way, and if I didn't have a direct exposure. And they're like, "Okay, yeah, we need to like figure out if you like really had mumps or not, because this is something you also learn in like statistics class. You have to like weigh the chance of like a false positive test given how rare a disease is versus like the chance of an actual positive test, with the overlying assumption of knowing how rare a disease is." So they basically look through my case. She calls me again like a few days later, like after the weekend, and was like, "Yeah, so like your case was really weird. It got elevated to like," she basically name dropped some guy who I had like never heard of, and was like, "Yeah, it got name dropped to like this guy, blah blah blah. He sounded really important."
Steve Mumps himself.
Steve Mumps himself, Sir Steve Mumps. And she was basically like, yeah, and he had to make the call, and we're basically saying like what we're seeing based on the fact that you didn't have a direct exposure and you had like only swelling on one side of your face. Mumps usually involve swelling on both sides of your face, plus the fact that you're vaccinated. We're not gonna call this a case of mumps.
Oh,
Yeah, this is, like I said, there's a twist, and
bro, they got the stumps instead.
they got the stumps, and this is after I told like everyone in my lab that I had mumps, and they had spent like a whole day like making fun of me, being like, "Mom mumps,"
destroyed.
literally, "Mom mumps, mom mumps, mom mumps," and like it's just such a funny laugh in lab. Like no one was really worried about it. And then I had to tell them, okay, Multnomah County actually says, no, you don't have mumps.
Oh my God.
Which to this day, like, again, this is the other thing, going back to like what Eric was saying about this doctor saying like, vaccines may be making certain symptoms worse or whatever. Like, it's like Schrodinger's cat. Like the universe will never really know if I had mumps or not, right? One test says I do. People who are very smart and like involved with infectious disease are probably saying I don't, but like I had these symptoms that like do track with mumps. I have I still have like lingering issues in my parotid gland that tracks with like a parotid gland infection, which could have been mumps. So like the world may never know. Jesus Christ, bro. I see you. Bro, for our audio listeners, because we have no video, they just changed my Discord name to Mumplestiltskin.
Hey, you're going to jail for that one,
bro. That's so funny. So,
oh my God,
dude, I've been holding on to this info from y'all for like the past month,
and we kissed
the past month.
The past month. Oh my God. Dude, it's
you shouldn't
so
have
funny.
told us. This is too much power.
It's
too much
so
power.
funny. I literally think it's so hilarious. Obviously, like it really wasn't even that bad. Like it wasn't that awful. It's just funny. Like I don't know. This is like a medieval peasant disease. Like my dad had it. Like it's so.
Oh
he
God.
was the medieval peasant.
He was certainly a medieval peasant. But yeah, that was a highlight of my month, really.
I will say, like, typically there's a few things you never want to hear your doctor say. Like, one of them is like, I don't know. The other one is, damn, you are literally the poster boy of this disease.
Dude, that's the other thing about, like, going through this whole process. You realize, like, how little most doctors, like, not in a bad way. Like, obviously they're doing, like, their best, but, like, there's times where it's just, like, I don't know, Western medicine just fails you. And they're like, we literally have no idea what this is. We'll try and figure this out. Okay, we've ruled out really nasty things. Now we don't know what it is, so you'll have to like deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, even yourself, like you said, like in your research, like we really don't know a lot of how like the human body works in like some cases, right? Like, especially when it comes to things like the brain, like the actual like chemical synapses and things like that, right? Like we really don't know like how a lot of that works. Isn't that kind of what you mentioned?
Yeah, there's a lot. This is another thought I've had, which is like, am I too science pilled? Am I out of touch with the people? But
you're just cursed with knowledge, man.
I am cursed with knowledge. You're so right. Like we understand a good amount of things. There's obviously a lot of like nuance that we don't understand. So we like understand like the fact that we know what a synapse is like crazy. There's literally like popular science articles that like, there's some research or hypotheticals, I don't really know, that suggest like maybe part of the reason we don't understand fully how synapses in the brain work is like it involves like some amount of like quantum processing. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
You're just making up science words at this point.
Literally. Well, like, are you familiar with like the idea of like quantum computing? Like the idea of it? Like, have you heard of it?
I've heard of it thrown around, but
I could not tell you. Yeah.
I don't think I would do it justice if I told you. My understanding is it has to do with like using quantum states to do calculations in a crazier way. So I assume like some people are like, brain's so fucking confusing. Maybe it's doing that too. And it's like, bitch, okay. Maybe. I don't know, bro. Let me just dissect my retinas. Like, I don't want none of that smoke.
You just keep saying quantum.
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 I barely know him.
I barely know him. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that was, I mean, that was my like healthcare story. I don't know if you wanted to keep talking about quantum stuff for the brain, Eric.
No, it's okay. You'll keep saying quantum, and I'll just keep going. Yeah, I barely even know him.
Fair.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, so again, I kind of all of us have recently had healthcare like encounters. How is yours, Luke?
Uh,
Ah, that's the
oh
sound of a
dear.
defeated man.
Yeah. So I got pretty bad upper respiratory infection. It was a little complicated because basically we had a friend visiting us from out of town. I had stayed up super late on the first day of my weekend because our friend was here. Stayed up super late playing games. Um, stayed up late. No, stayed up late 2 nights in a row. And I started feeling my throat was getting a little silly. I was like,
A
oh,
little
okay,
silly little
just
guy.
yeah, I just haven't been sleeping well, and I've been staying up late, and I've been like having lots of drinks with friends, and then it got to be I went to work, and then that night I realized, oh, I'm not tired. I'm actually just really sick.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I had to call out from work for 4 days in a row, which was a new experience. And this is something that I talked about with my friend. Like now that I'm working full time, it's like calling out from work is completely different because I only have a certain allocation of sick days that I can use.
Right.
And also because my job is union, if I am out for 3 consecutive days, I need a doctor's note proving that I'm actually sick.
God, it's just like going back to school.
Yeah, and here's where the problem arises. I've never had healthcare through a job before. And so this is the first job where I've been like, oh, okay, I can go go to the doctor. I'm insured. Totally fine. Sure
Yeah.
there won't be any issues. See, they even gave me this nice little number on my medical card. I can just call these people. So I call the number on my medical card listed under my primary care physician's name, and I call it and I'm like, oh, hey, this is the number on the medical card. I need to come in, get checked up. I need to get a doctor's note. And the person on the phone is like, we're not accepting new patients at this time.
Uh,
God.
I'm like, what? You're my primary care physician. That's what it says here on my card. And they're like, no, we're not accepting new patients at this time. I'm like, what?
Oh my God, dude.
So basically, then I go to my healthcare, like the website for the health system I'm a part of, which, mind you, I picked because all of the services were free. I begin to very quickly realize that I'm getting exactly what I paid for. Um,
Oh no.
I try to find an urgent care that accepts um, my medical my insurance basically.
Yeah.
But because of the way that my insurance works, it's broken down into medical groups. And your medical group needs to align with the urgent care that you're going to for some odd reason.
You're like
So-
describing like a video game setup. Like,
Yeah, basically I've opted into a skill tree accidentally that's, prohibiting me from learning. I really want to learn stealth, but no, they spec me into strength against my will.
yeah.
And and so I'm like, I look at my group. I find a list of places online that are supposed to be through the group's website, mind you. Find a list of places that are supposed to be urgent cares, and I call one. I'm realizing this is an extremely long story as I tell it.
Oh no, no. Okay, please. Like, I want to hear it. I want the whole saga.
Well, basically, I call them and I'm like, "Hey, can I come in? You're an urgent care that's as part of my network." And they're like, "Well, we don't treat anyone here unless they're a patient from one of our primary care physicians. Here are our primary care physicians' names. They are accepting patients at this time. All you need to do, healthcare subscriber, is change your primary care physician to one of these two people." And so I write down their names. I call member services, and I'm like, hey, please help me. Please get me onto one of these positions instead. And please like make this a retroactive thing. I've never been to the other primary care physician. I haven't had any work done with them. There shouldn't be any issues. And they're like, okay, great. Well, we'll just change this. We'll make it retroactive, so it's as if you've been with this primary care physician since the beginning of the month. And I'm like, okay, all right, awesome, awesome. This is great. I can go into the local primary care place near my apartment. This is perfect. And then, so I get all that sorted after, navigating the phone tree like it's some sort of a quick time event.
Yeah.
I call the place back, and there's no answer. And I wait a couple hours because I'm like, oh, maybe they're at lunch because it's lunchtime at this point. I call them again, no answer. So I leave a voicemail. At this point, I'm well enough to go back to work. So I'm like, okay, I'll go back in. I'll make sure, I can work on getting this doctor's note. It'll be fine. So I go back into work, and my boss is like, hey, so need to make sure you get that doctor's note, because like payroll's going to be asking about it. And I want to make sure, everything's above board. I want to make sure there's no issues. And of course I'm like, okay, yeah, I can manage this. I can do this.
Yeah, for sure.
So
It's no problem at all.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'm working on getting it. So after waiting a few days for a call back, because it turns out that they aren't. Oh, wait, no. So I go in, I check their hours online because I'm like, okay, maybe if I just go in person, because they haven't called me back and it's been a couple days. I'm like, maybe if I just go in person, I can go talk to someone and it'll be totally fine. And I go in, and it turns out that the hours online are incorrect, and they are not open on the weekend like it said they were online on their website. And so I'm like, okay, this is fine. I'll just go back in like Monday. This is totally fine. I'll just go back in then. And oh no, I don't go back in Monday. I decide I'll go back in before work one day. So I go back in that day, and I walk in. Their sign on the street says walk-in clinic and urgent care. And I go back in, and I'm like, hey, I talked to you over the phone. You told me to switch my primary care physician. I called, been trying to get an appointment. Can I, since this is a walk-in clinic and urgent care, can I like see someone today? I just need a doctor's note. And they're like, so we're no longer an urgent care.
What?
Oh.
This changed at the beginning of the month, and I'm like,
no
oh, sweet, bet, great, very, very cool.
And you did say those exact words to them.
Yes, I did. I'm like, well, is there any way I can see a doctor? I really need this doctor's note. I just want to make sure that I can get this in before it's an issue. And they're like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll fill out this paperwork. We can see if we can get you an appointment like next Friday. And in my head, I'm thinking like, oh no,
Friday.
this is taking a little bit of time.
Oh.
This taking. What if they don't give me the doctor's note? So this is like running through my head, and then my worst fears are confirmed when I schedule the appointment, and the person at reception is like, yeah, well, we can get you in. I'm not sure if the doctor can give you a doctor's note at that time if if you're like recovered. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So that day on my lunch break, I call the member services line for the health system at large, not for the medical group, like the overarching health system. I get sent a voicemail. I explain the whole situation to them, and then I'm scouring the website, and I'm like, okay, all right, what do I do? How can I get in contact with someone? And I remember when I was doing my internship, we fielded a lot of emails basically through an online form, and that form was automatically filled out through email. And so I find the contact email for the medical group. I write up a whole email explaining the situation to them, and I include like, oh, I gave a call. I just wanted to make sure that I got information quickly because this might be time sensitive. and bless them, they give me an email back within a couple hours.
Is it because you said it was time sensitive? You just had to say the magic
No,
words?
I literally just think it's because I emailed them. And there's probably a different person in a different branch of the same department who is answering inquiries via email, and they're not connected with the phone system at all. Because that's kind of how these things
That's how
end up
these
working.
things are set up, yeah.
Yeah. And so they basically, and I had used their website, the whole big group website, to try to find a provider through their provider search portal. And it was not giving me useful information at all. And the person who I got in contact with acknowledged, like, yeah, we've been having issues with this.
So have we.
We've been having issues with the system that we point people to when they need to find a medical provider.
That's wild.
Yeah, and so thankfully in the email, they gave me a list of options, and they give me a list of like the hours, and these are all, I know that these are all places I can go to for urgent care because I gave them my medical number, and so they can, check my plan versus what these people will take. And I decide, I hedge my bets. I look at the list, and I decide after work, get off at like 9 at night, I will go to the one place that's open, which is the major hospital for the entire area. And I will go to their urgent care, and I will wait there until I am seen by someone.
And I will sit there in that one spot until someone sees me or they kick me out.
Yeah, thankfully I brought stuff to read. And so I go to the big hospital, I park my car, I walk over, because, of course, it's a parking lot. Visitor parking is so far from everything else.
Yeah. Walk
over, wait there for basically 2.5 hours.
Jeez.
Until urgent care closes, at which point a nurse walks everyone who's still waiting to the emergency department.
No.
And on the way, the nurse was like, "Don't worry, we will honor your position in line at the new place." No. So we're all waiting in the emergency room. And I wait for about like maybe 15-20 minutes more, and they finally call me. I go to the back. They sit me in a chair. It's the most chaotic place I'd ever been to. There's someone from like the county correctional facility in a wheelchair, like handcuffed to the wheelchair, sitting across from me next to like a correctional officer. I'm like, no. Okay, it's truly everyone is here tonight.
Yeah. Everyone is here.
So I'm sitting in the back, waiting for like maybe 10 more minutes. The nurse comes up to me and is like, "Oh, so what's going on? It says here on your intake that you like just need a doctor's note." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I just need a doctor's note, man." He's like, "Okay, what days were you sick?" Tell him the days. He walks away, comes back like 3 minutes later with a printed doctor's note. And I'm like, "Okay, sweet. Great. This is it. Finally, I've done it."
Yeah.
I leave the hospital, get home at 1:30. My girlfriend helps me scan the
note,
like doctor's note, with her phone so I can email it to my boss, and then I go to sleep at 2.
Oh my god, dude.
And that was it, right?
Yeah, that was it, thankfully.
Once you got the doctor's note.
Yeah, I ended up still like honoring the appointment and going in because I had it scheduled, and the doctor basically confirmed like, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to give you a doctor's note if you came in because you would have been well by that point.
Which is so funny to me. There's so many, like, I love that story because I guarantee you it will give so many people listening such a rage boner. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like that is so awful. And I think for me, like at the end, just being like, the guy didn't even like look at you or assess you for anything. He just doesn't give a fuck. He's in the emergency room. He's like, "You need a doctor's note? Sure. Fucking take when were you sick? I don't care. Just take the doctor's note." And then this other doctor being like, "Yeah, well, I wouldn't have known. I couldn't have evaluated." Just like, no one gives a shit. This is all dumb bureaucracy.
Yeah, I mean, I will give the nurse who saw me credit. He was very polite.
Yeah.
It was very clear that they were understaffed that night.
Yeah.
And I think that the system as a whole has been put in a very poor position.
Totally.
Because when I talked to my doctor when I went in, she was like, "Yeah, this used to be like a urgent care, and I used to be able to see so many people. People used to be able to walk in, and I could like get them help right away. But the system changed that, and now there's so much red tape. When people come in, even if I have no scheduled appointments, I can't see them because they need to be like part of the medical group and they need to have an appointment to be sent to me. And the people at the front literally can't send them in because that would be violating basically violating the law.
Yeah. Golly gee.
Yeah. And so there's so much like weird red tape around the whole situation. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. And then it was funny because I was CC'd in the email where my boss sent the doctor's note in, and then someone from payroll emails my boss and is like, "Hey, so in the same email thread, hey, so did he ever get that doctor's note?" And my boss had to be like, "Yeah, I sent it. It's in this chain."
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, good times all around.
I'm
and
so sorry.
I'm learning, like, if I need something done immediately, I will just go to the big hospital and I will just sit in the chair for 3 hours and I will get it done that day. I will not try to schedule an appointment because if I do, I will not be seen on time.
That is so fair and valid and reasonable. I have another question though, which is cost-wise. I figure it's more expensive to be seen in the emergency room, no? Like, you don't have to give me a number, but like, how much did the doctor's note cost you?
Oh, it was free.
Oh, it's free. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
your insurance actually like covers that.
My insurance covers everything.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
Although I should probably check my portal and make sure they haven't billed me for something I'm not anticipating.
Yeah, because I know
as I understand it, like all of these visits are covered under what I have. But the problem is getting a visit in the first place is so difficult.
Yeah. Also, like this whole like deal of like getting a primary care provider. I'm like, so I'm looking to like, get checked in, get a primary care provider, and they're like, oh, we're not taking new patients. Like, what do you mean you're not taking new patients? I'm your doctors, right? It's like, no, so you have to get a referral, and it's like a referral from who? Oh, well, generally from like a doctor. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have a doctor, so how do I get the referral?
Yeah,
it's all so. You're right. The red tape is like, it's like corned off the whole like medical healthcare system. It's like, can't even get in
like,
there.
I went with our like county provider over. I guess I could say who it is. It's not. I don't think there's any real repercussions for this. It's Valley Health. They are the major county provider,
Gotcha.
and like you look at Valley Health and you like peel back the facade and you see it's just like 5 different medical systems stacked on top of each other. Yeah. So there's a clear disconnect between all of the other like systems, the groups, and like how they connect to each other. And like there's probably legacy systems that they're using that don't sync well with one another, which is probably causing all these issues. And they all have different websites. Totally. Which is why the website that I went on that gave me all the information had incorrect information because stuff had changed and their webmaster just hadn't updated it.
Yeah. The system becomes like so intricate and like complex that it's like, how do we like even navigate this, right? Like,
yeah. And it was frustrating because I scheduled an appointment over a website with a different urgent care because I was checking all the urgent cares on like Yelp and Google to see who had good reviews, and this place had the best. And I'm like, okay, great. I trust that I will be like taken care of here. So I schedule through the app, or not through the app, through like their web portal, which has like great UI, like so easy to use, very clearly, someone competent in software engineering has come up with this. And I get a call same day saying like, hey, sorry, we don't accept your insurance. And I call back and I'm like, this is the first time I've gotten a call back from someone. It's the first time anyone in healthcare has acknowledged me. I'm trying to navigate it. I'm like, thank you so much for giving a call back. Oh, I really appreciate it. I'll just cancel my appointment. It's totally fine.
I'll just cancel everything. I'll just go die. Dude, that's so
Yeah.
true though. It's like the system. It's so bad. So like again, this whole like mump saga I went through, it like literally took like weeks upon weeks of like calling doctors, scheduling appointments, getting like having to take calls to like schedule an X-ray, schedule an ultrasound, and like all these things. Like the lead time on them can be like really long depending on
Mhm.
like where you're at. So, for example, as part of like this whole saga, I went to see an ENT, which is an ear, neck, throat specialist. Um, and I'm
You mean
like,
you didn't see Treebeard?
no, I didn't see an ENT. I saw an ENT. Thank you very much. Or as I like to call them, the throat goats of doctors. So
You really gotta stop saying that, man.
I really
That is
do.
colloquially what they're known as, though.
That's, yeah,
I've been
yeah,
told.
yeah. So I saw a bit of a throat goat, if you will. um, but yeah, basically, so I'm like calling him, like, yeah, they're like, okay, I'll give you this referral. I'll try and tell them it's like urgent, so they make it quick. I'm like, okay, good, good, good. Yes, everything has to be urgent. I call the doctor's like, yeah, we can see you in like 2 weeks, and I'm like, that doesn't sound very urgent to me. Like, that seems
Yeah.
not urgent.
Dude,
Yeah,
when I turned into the lobster man in first
dude,
year,
I tell people that story all the time.
what's funny, like the most surprising thing about that story wasn't that I turned into a lobster man.
That's pretty surprising.
It was that I was treated immediately
Yeah,
by everyone that I went to.
we were so young and naive,
Yeah, basically, yeah, it was crazy. It was wild. I
dude.
like
Yeah,
I do a walk-in at like student health.
yeah,
I get a referral to dermatology for the next day. I go to dermatology. They're
yeah.
like they have no clue. And then things get worse and I go to the ER and it's like, okay, everything dealt with to the
Dude,
best of everyone's ability, I guess.
yeah, which is funny, but I'll like I tell people that story and I'm like, yeah, and then it just went away. And like like one person I told it to, she was like, that seems like could have been like pretty serious. I'm like, maybe it could have, I guess, turning into like half lobster. Like that does sound pretty bad. I'm like,
You
I'm glad
know,
it all went away, but
my working theory is I stepped on a jellyfish when I went to the beach and it gave me a reaction.
oh, that's a good theory. I like that theory. That makes
Yeah.
more
Like,
sense
we
than
should
like
test it.
he just no, I don't think so.
No,
We-
I don't.
I mean, it'd be unwise of us to have a theory and not try to, confirm that theory.
This is actually how you get the mad scientist trope in movies, where they're like, "We have to test the hypothesis,"
We do.
which is actually not how most. This is it's like a meme I've also seen online, but like most mad scientists in like movies are like mad engineers, if you think about it. Like they're actually not
actually, though,
testing
right?
any
They're-
sort of
they're-
hypothesis. They're like, "I'm going to build a death laser to destroy the world." I'm like, okay, what's the hypothesis though?
Hypothesis is death laser destroys
Death
worlds.
laser destroys the world. Yeah, yeah.
No, like honestly, with the whole thing though, like maybe this is why I don't bother going to the doctor after because I feel like it's just too much hassle. Like I was actually so happy when I called in for my doctor's note because kind of the same thing, um, because I was out for like a week and a half, pretty much actually. They do typically require that doctor's note. I wanted to get one just in case. They didn't like broach me on it, and they weren't like, "Hey, in order to call it this much," like that talk might come later, honestly.
Yeah.
But like it is one of those things where I'm glad I just called in because they were able to just provide it to me. I will give Kaiser credit for that, where it was pretty nice having the like on or like the application on your phone where you can just kind of get in contact with them.
hmm
Actually, kind of nice for that. Because I didn't have to go through that entire system, and maybe I will at some point. But at the moment, I'm perfectly content not having to do that because yeah, like no one ever really has an easy time going through that, especially when it's like a
Yeah.
more severe issue.
I feel
And
like
Yeah.
just
as I get older and I'm like, damn, this is gonna be happening like more often. I really do think it's worth like getting a primary care provider, like just like going to whatever resource you currently have and being like, hey, I'd like to get a PCP. And then they will probably refer you to someone, and at least you will have someone. And then once you have a PCP, you can be like, I'm going to this person. And then when they see me and don't know what I have, they're like, let me refer you to like the person who's like a specialist. And I think it's an important step. And again, similar to like taxes, it's like something we're
Mhm.
never taught to do. And it's just kind of like, oh, you're sick now? Well, figure it out while you're sick and not well.
Yeah, for all the problems maybe Kaiser has about being like impersonal,
Sure.
the one great thing about him being a business
Yeah.
focused hospital setting, which comes with a lot of criticisms.
Right.
And some of my family members worked for Kaiser, and we're certainly very critical of how like numbers oriented they
Totally.
were
I mean, once
about
you work
stuff.
there, you know how messed up it might be, right? Like
Yeah,
by
yeah.
working there. Yeah.
But the thing about Kaiser is like they're at the very least a well-oiled machine,
That's fair.
and all of their services are through Kaiser, and there's Kaisers everywhere. And like when I went to the doctor, and they're like, oh yeah, you need this lab work done, but we can't do it here. And they basically were like, here, go to this, like, go here for your lab
Here,
work.
go to
And I still
Kaiser.
haven't-
They'll get you.
I still haven't like scheduled it because I'm like, now I have to schedule this whole other thing
Yeah.
to get done. But if you go to like Kaiser, they're like, okay, cool. Here, we'll schedule your appointment within Kaiser for lab work.
Right.
It's all just vertically integrated. Like it's so convenient.
The convenience alone is huge. I think I'm probably going to try to get assigned to a different medical group because Valley has since absorbed the health system I went to as a child, which has gone through several name changes.
Dang.
And I think they are the system that had the actual good UI for the urgent cares. So if I can get into that one, I feel like life might be a little easier.
Oh, totally.
No.
I mean, once you get like set up, it's like way easier. I wish we had more like kind of like Japan. I wish we had more consistent like annual check-ins, and I kind of wish we got a report card. Like I don't know if you've heard of this, like the health report card in Japan.
Not
the
aware.
legacy of schooling is
The
just
legacy
lingering.
of schooling, dude. Again, this is what I love about Japan. They gamify everything, and it's like, oh, how's your liver doing? It's a B. That's passing. Could be an A though. Like, oh, how's your kidneys? Ooh, that's a C. We're gonna have to work on that. Get your grades up, son. Like, I don't know if you've seen or heard of this. You probably have, Luke, because they talk about it on the
I've heard
Trash
of it.
Taste
I've heard of
podcast.
it.
But I actually think it's kind of sick, and like, and part of like going through like a bunch of this medical like red tape stuff, it's kind of nice to like check in and be like, yeah, so we did this, we ran your blood test and it seems normal. I'm like, oh, good, normal. That's great. Like, that's nice. I like
we
that.
love normal.
Yeah, we love normal. And obviously, like, being in your like mid-20s, everything should be normal, but still, you never know. You want to get that checked out, especially in the modern day. Like, I'm not trying to like scare people or anything, but I feel like there's a lot of things that like are happening or going wrong with like younger people that a lot of doctors and people aren't really understanding, and it's probably due to some environmental thing that we're all being exposed to or dealing with, maybe microplastics, I don't know. And it's just like,
Yeah,
and it's just like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but like I get the sense that like 20-year-olds aren't as healthy as they used to be compared to like maybe even like 40, 50, 60 years ago.
because we aren't working in the fields.
Maybe it's because we aren't working in the fields and we need to go back to our roots.
Yeah. My mom was concerned about my weight when I was growing up.
Oh,
And
Really?
yeah, because I mean, you guys have seen me. My
Stop looking at this
doctor,
motherfucker.
my doctor was basically like, yeah, when everyone was working on a farm, most people looked like your son. You shouldn't be concerned.
oh no.
Yeah.
Were you working in the fields as a kid? What happened?
Dude, it's still a mystery to me. Like, literally, I want to track my intake of food because I'm curious if I have some metabolic issue that I should maybe see a specialist for. Because I don't know, I've always been fast metabolism,
Right.
and everyone has said, "Oh, this will change as you get older," and I am now older, and it does not seem to be changing.
It hasn't been changing.
Like, I was at my highest weight when we were all living together, and you guys saw how much I would eat then, right?
Oh yeah, midnight tour pasta. Woo!
Yeah, midnight pasta. I basically would fill up my plate with so much food.
Yeah, it's sick, man.
And even like, I don't know. I think maybe there is something legitimately wrong. Maybe
That's
To
fair.
like a severe extent, do you think it actually impacts your
I don't think
overall health?
I don't think it impacts my overall health, but it probably does, but not in a way that is like dangerous. I think if understanding yourself medically is important.
I agree.
because then you understand like how to best take care of yourself, right?
Yeah, we
Like,
all like we're all as we, especially like sometimes not even aging, just like as a like from birth, like everyone has like their own debuffs, right? And like understanding your debuffs lets you better know how to like approach life.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know. I honestly haven't seen you like too recently, but I don't know, like I don't have an image of how you looked when we like lived together versus how you've looked recently. If anything, again, maybe it's like the rock climbing, but I feel like you're in like pretty good shape and fitness generally.
I don't think I'm very fit, to be honest. I mean, I've always been like skinny,
Sure.
but like that isn't. I don't think that's a good indicator of health
You
or
don't think you
fitness.
have like decent muscle mass and tone?
Oh, I mean, I haven't been exercising as much as I used to. Like
Mm,
climbing in particular, like I've hardly gone. It's been I think Eric probably knows this, but it's been working in work-life balance and fitting in
mm,
time in for friends and like being able to have time for myself to like relax. It's been
totally.
something that it's been pretty tough
Yeah, it's
for
a
me.
super difficult balance. I think that makes a lot
Yeah,
of sense for
especially
sure.
coming into this new job. Like
Yeah.
when I was working 6 days a week
When it
for
was easy.
6 months, I was basically resigned to the fact that I wasn't going to see anyone,
Right.
and I had like a singular focus of like, okay, this is what I have to do to get by, to get through. Um, but now that I'm like working 40 hours a week,
Oh,
and I'm like,
bless.
yeah, and I'm like, I had this conversation with my mom because I saw her pretty recently, and I was like talking to her about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm realizing it really is so much to commute, to work a full-time job, to take care of your like physical, mental, emotional, social health, and to like cook for yourself, to keep up like a neat, tidy household. It really is.
Dude,
It is
preach.
so
It
much
is so much.
to
It,
take care of.
it takes so much time, and like I just want to come home and I want to play game. But no, my laundry needs to be done, or I don't have food. I guess I could get takeout, but maybe that's not as healthy and not as like cost effective as like
Yeah,
making your own food.
yeah, exactly. And I've been like trying to figure out what is the limit for myself and
Mm,
like making sure I'm not spreading myself too thin, but also trying to enjoy my life. Like last weekend was really busy,
yeah.
and I realized this week that I suffered for it, even though I had a really good time. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. Magic the Gathering.
Magic the Gathering. We just had Cowboy set.
Oh,
That was
yes.
a fun time.
Dude, okay, before you get into Cowboy set, I just wanna roast some people
Oh, please do.
because you went to the Cowboy set pre-release, which sounded like
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Mhm.
I had another group of friends who went to the Cowboy set pre-release as well. Really, really close friends. Some of my best friends, in fact, in this whole wide world. And as of like luck would happen, two of my closest groups of friends encounter each other at the Cowboy set pre-release. And you know what my other group of friends says?
What?
Absolutely nothing about y'all. And it's funny because they're like, I appreciate it. They were literally messaging me and being like, hey, Teva, look at my pulls. Here's what I opened from my pack. Dude, I have an insane deck. I'm going to win like so easily. But nothing about like, oh yeah, and Luke was there. In fact, I have the Discord logs and like Luke messages me the next morning and is like, hey Teva, like you probably already know this, but ran into like your group of friends at pre-release. And I'm like, I didn't know this. What do you mean?
It's so funny because it's like the opposite. I have the opposite conversation that your other group of friends had. I'm like, hey, Teva, saw your friends at pre-release. Great time. And your friends are like, hey, Teva, look at these cards we pulled.
Yeah, literally.
Nothing about my pool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. We do have the opposite. I have no idea. I still don't know what you opened, but like, then I go and like message them in Discord. I'm like, yo, y'all didn't even mention that like Luke and his friends were at pre-release, and literally the response is like, oh yeah, Luke was there. I'm like, bro, the fucking shade, man. You
Dude,
didn't think to mention it?
screen doors blew open,
Yeah.
and I looked, and the whole posse rolled in.
Yeah, the whole
Sheriff and his
squad.
deputies.
That's so funny.
It was actually really funny.
I've heard good things
Um,
about the set as well. Like, did you have a fun time at the pre-release?
it was mechanically interesting. that was why I wanted to come back and play it, because
Mm.
I was like looking at the cards that were being released, and I'm like, oh, it's multicolor focused. I'm like, oh, this seems very interesting. New keywords, like new stuff that they're adding. Seems like it'll be like a challenging environment to navigate. So I was down for that. And objectively, my pool was pretty bad, and I played 3 colors.
See, that's why you didn't. That's why you
And-
didn't send it to me.
Well, but the thing is, I went 2-1.
Because otherwise, you would have sent it to me, right? Right?
Yeah, right.
I showed you my cards. Please
I
respond.
showed you my cards. Please respond. No. Okay, you went 2-1. Wow, that's the same as my friend who had the insane pull.
Yeah, it's
Skill issue, honestly.
funny
Yeah.
because you know how they like have you seeded by record.
Yeah.
At the end of like my round 3, I was seated at 1.
Really?
I know. I
Oh.
was so surprised. I was
Oh,
like, I've
because
never
you
been on this end of the
Because
table
you were
before.
2-0. Dude, honestly, I will say that's the one thing that like I kind of have a hankering for to get back into like playing at local game shops. Being at tables like 1 through 4, getting being at the number 1 table. Oh, feels so good.
Yeah, the guy I played against, I beat him in a very close game, round 1, and he sideboards stuff. I'm thinking about his deck, and I'm like, I have nothing I can board in. And he's
I
like,
have nothing.
He's like, this is gonna be a good game, and I'm like, I don't know about that, man. I think
Oh,
you're
no.
gonna stop me now, and he did.
Damn.
But it was still good games.
No, that's
Last
awesome.
time I went 2-0, I bodied 2 children, so that was cool.
Yeah, that is the experience we get at that one game store sometimes.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, which is nice at pre-releases, but it's also like, yeah, it's like, how do I like not optimize and destroy this child?
Yeah, I mean,
they were
where we went
nice.
was-
Oh yeah,
They
they're
got
always sweet.
destroyed.
Yeah, totally. I mean, they're a kid. Like back when I played as a kid, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna attack you because that would be mean. So like, they're not playing at like fucking adult level. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where we went to play has the reputation of being like the sweatiest.
Oh
Place.
really? It has a sweaty reputation, but there are kids there.
No. Where
was
we
a
went for
pre-release.
this pre-release, where we normally go.
Oh, where
Doesn't
you normally
have that
go has the
reputation.
kids.
Yes.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
But you went to the
runs
sweaty
younger
store.
Crowd, it's friendlier overall.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we went to the sweatier store. There were people with their top 8 pins on their play mats.
Oh
and
god,
I'm like,
yeah.
What made you guys even decide to go to the sweaty store this time?
because of scheduling.
Ah,
They
that
had
makes sense.
multiple events. They had a later event. One
'Cause
of
they're so
our
sweaty.
people was commuting from super far away. And so in order for him to make it on time,
Gotcha.
we were like, well, we'll just change where we're playing. And it's funny because this guy, we went to high school with him. He was a year or 2 or 3 older than us.
Okay.
So some of us knew him, but I didn't even know that he played Magic until we saw him at a pre-release like 4 years ago.
Oh damn!
at
You
this
just like
point.
ran into him randomly.
Yeah, and it was at this game store that we went to again.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, so it was kind of funny.
That is super funny.
It was like, 'cause I don't know if you know, Tom, I actually didn't go to the pre-release. I wanted to, but I couldn't.
I did know, or I like inferred because I knew you were like fucking sick.
No,
Like you were recovering. No.
It wasn't that. It was actually because I went to our draft the day after. It's because they ran out of spots because it was at the sweaty
Yeah.
spot.
Oh, you ran out of spots at the sweaty
Yeah.
spot.
It's tough because everyone wants to be there. Like the people who want to be there day one would also want to be at this store.
Gotcha. Yeah. I see. Oh, so you just like they booked it before you like
Yeah.
knew you were going, and then they ran out of spots.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ah, that sucks.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
I actually kind of knew because I could be wrong. I thought we were playing Valorant that night.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were.
Yeah. So I was like,
Oh,
clearly
God,
he's not
Valor.
there. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little unfortunate, but oh well.
How was
'Cause I
the-
always do like the pre-releases.
Yeah. Again, this is something that maybe we could talk about, which is like our current relation with Magic the Gathering and how that's going. Because yeah, I feel so, and it's probably just because of where I am and because I don't have friends that are like really into Magic to play with. But yeah, I'm like so unmotivated to go to like pre-releases nowadays. Like I just don't have that
Yeah.
spark. It's like a whole day of your weekend.
So
You feel so
neither do any
tired
of
after.
the Planeswalkers before.
Oh my god. Yeah, I've lost my
Uh.
spark. And you know, I could see going with like a group of friends, but it is like it's like a whole day affair, and you really gotta want the squad to make it a fun experience.
And like
Yeah,
every story is different too, right? Like
Yeah.
depending, like I know with the sweaty one, like it's 3 rounds. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is
It's generally 3 rounds.
What was prize support? Because I feel like even though it's the sweaty one, is it pack per win, or is it like just 2 packs everyone? Like, do you know?
It wasn't pack per win. They had a split that everyone got at least 1 pack.
Gotcha.
It's like 1-3-5 or something like that, or maybe
I think
a
it
little
was
less than that.
135 or 135 makes sense.
That would
think
make
it's
It was
sense.
either
135.
135 or 136.
I feel like pre-releases
for
are usually less sweaty. Although I have a pre-release story. I don't know if it's I don't think I've told it before on the pod. But it was I think it was for Eldraine. So it was like years ago, like when I first came to Portland, I went to a pre-release. And I went to this random game store, and they basically had this system where alongside getting packs, first of all, it was like 4 rounds, and it was like a much more like less forgiving prize structure. Like if you went 2 and 2, I think you got nothing for like a pre-release.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's rough.
But I was doing really well. I got my sweat on, and I ended up at table 1. I was 3-0, and I was playing this other guy for the whatever, and it was basically like, oh, do you want to split or whatever? And he said no. I'm like, okay, sure, let's play. I think I end up losing 2-1, and I end up, for whatever reason, just with the number of people, I forget exactly, maybe it was even 5 rounds or something, but like I ended up second place in the event.
Yeah.
And they had this funny little system where they had like a table of like random thingamajigs that like you could get like after winning. And how it worked is basically like first place gets first pick, second place gets second pick, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
They also open up a booster box of like the set, and then first place gets to pick their choice of rare or mythic rare, second place gets their pick. So basically like being like first, second, or third, you get like pretty sick prizes. Like it's actually very winner favoring. Like it's very slanted.
Yeah.
And so this guy who goes first gets first pick, and this is Throne of Eldraine. And so from the booster box, he gets to pick a Great Henge.
Oh my god.
I'm second, so he gets a Great Henge, and I get Ember Cleave, which is good, but like the difference is like astronomical. It's like, god damn it, bro.
Like for context, right now, the card that we're talking about, Great Henge, is like sitting at a very, very, very
Like,
comfortable,
like $60 or something.
50 to $60.
Yeah, and Ember Cleave
Yeah.
is like maybe $10 still. Like maybe it might be less.
It might even be
It might
less.
be 5
It might
because
be
they
5.
reprinted it in the new Eldraine.
Ah,
too.
yeah. Yeah, so it's like the difference between getting a $50 card and a $5 card, and then from the random prize of funny haha prizes, they have like things like fun playmats, they have fun sleeves, whatever, and then they have an Dragon Commander deck.
What?
Yeah, it's literally like $20 playmat, and now probably like $100-something Commander deck.
That's insane.
And the guy who's
That's
first place is
wild.
like, well, I'll take the Commander deck. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are these prizes? It's like
Rich get richer.
literally, it's like first place, $150 worth of prizes. Second place, yeah, you get $25 of stuff. Congrats. It's like, dude, I'm so sad I didn't win that game. I would have been. It would have been.
Would it have been
Yeah.
winnable, or was it just like it was out of your control?
I think it was definitely winnable. Like, I think
Yeah.
his deck was definitely better, and he should have won. But I think like if 9, in 10 games, I think I win like 3 or 4 of the time. But his deck, like, I was like, damn, your deck is actually nutso, but I could still win. Like, it didn't feel unwinnable.
Man,
Yeah.
I still getting flashbacks to that one pre-release where the guy we had to like be like, is this guy cheating?
Oh my god, yeah.
That
Well, that was
game
basically like Riley's Pool, except even more insane, where the guy had like 3 mythic rares all on the same color combination, and like the strongest card, 2 of them are the strongest card in the set, and then like a bunch of complementary rares also in color, and we're like, bro.
Was that you? No,
It
because
was
you
me.
ram into the guy who was
I
Simic,
played him.
right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about the Simic guy. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the guy was.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Random spectator guy goes, "Is this constructed?"
Literally,
Yeah,
that was
that
so
was-
funny.
Legitimately insane to witness.
I was just like, bro, what the fuck? He had, and again, I know this might not make as much sense for the people who don't play as much Magic, but he had like 2 mythic rares that literally became constructed staples in the format where like people were playing this card in professional play, and he had 2 of them. And the
Yeah.
odds of opening like a mythic rare itself is like already like 1 in 8 packs or something, and he got 2 of the same one that's like the strongest in the set.
And he got a third
Insane.
mythic as well.
Yeah, and he had a third mythic,
Mhm.
and he had 2 rares that were on color, and it was just like, bro, this is fucking nuts. So I'll never forget that guy. That was the most insane game I'd ever played.
I remember the realization too, because like both me and Luke had lost our games.
Yeah.
So we went over to watch Teva's game.
Everyone
We're like,
was
what's going on
watching, yeah.
here? And then there was this moment of realization, right? Because Tev was able to deal with one of those mythics.
Yeah, I killed one
But
of the
we didn't
mythics.
know he had a second, right?
Well,
so when
no
he pulls
one
out a
expects the
second, we're
second
like,
one.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Did he like revive that? We're like, no, wait. This one's foil.
So
Like, this
specifically,
one-
yeah. So specifically, one of them was his pre-release promo. So in one game he plays it, I'm like, damn, that's going to be fucking annoying to deal with. And the second game he plays it again, except this time it's foil, and I'm like, that's not the same as the first one.
And you had kind of dawned, you're like, damn, I'm screwed.
Literally, it's like I'm in danger meme.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, no fucking way. That was so funny though. That was like, there's a lot of good memories I have of pre-releases. I think they're like a lot of fun to do with friends in the right like place, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think college it was so much easier because I felt like you had so much more time, you know. Now it's like the weekends are so
Yeah.
precious. Like spending a whole day on pre-release, it's like, damn, I'm gonna be tired the next day, and then I have to go back to work.
Yeah, in hindsight, if I had done my laundry and done grocery shopping and cooked food and taken care of all of these
if you had just done all
major
that, yeah.
life things that
Yeah.
I need to do, I think I would have been fine this week. But this week I was so burnt out, just because I had had such a busy weekend the weekend before, and it was still fun. I still had a great time, but it's
Yeah.
like, man, I am suffering from the consequences of my actions.
Yeah, and all you want to do is play Persona.
Yeah. Oh my god. Bro, Persona 3 was a fucking mistake, dude.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I literally the soundtrack is like playing in my head as I'm driving around.
Lives in your mind rent free.
Yeah, basically like the soundtrack where you're like out after school, like running errands,
Yeah.
like going to shops and stuff, that like plays in my head now.
Oh yeah, I can just hear it as like a JRPG fan. I know what it sounds like.
God, yeah.
When's the last time you played a single player like campaign?
Oh god.
Only you would call it a single player. Could call Persona 3 a single player campaign.
Look, JRPG, a campaign. It's so funny to me.
Yeah.
Like it's COD or something.
Yeah, it's like literally two people who don't play single player games talking to each other.
Let me check my. How do I even see what I played recently? Oh, I guess I can check my Steam profile.
All right, we gotta
why
fill.
is
We gotta
this-
fill.
Why is this out of order? I need to like reorganize my item showcase.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, while you do that, I've also fallen down a bit of a JRPG rabbit hole myself, which is this new game called Unicorn Overlord,
Yes.
which is so it's by Vanillaware, and many people might recognize that if they played 13 Sentinels, which was another game originally released for I don't know PlayStation, PC, I don't remember. But essentially they're a kind of like I don't know. They've been around for a while, but they make really cool JRPGs. And Unicorn Overlord is kind of like almost Fire Emblem-esque in my mind. It's like it takes a lot of like tropes from Fire Emblem, and it's just been like a really fun strategy game on the Switch. And I'm like, so many days I just like come back from work and I'm excited to just like boot up and play it. And I haven't really felt that for like a single player game in like quite a while, you know, where it's just like, oh, I want to progress the story. I want to build up my team. Like,
Bro,
it's
I'm
just
just
really
worried
fun.
about. I'm having similar thoughts with Persona. I'm just worried about my boy Kaz. I don't want him to like
Oh my god,
up his leg permanently. He
dude!
just wants to be a good uncle to his nephew and show him that he can overcome things.
Dude, the emotional attachment. That's what I love about JRPG stories, man. He's just doing his best.
Yeah, I think it's literally been 4 years since I've played a single player game.
That's crazy.
Single player story based game this intensively, and the last game was Fallout 4.
Dude, that's so funny.
And I just during lockdown I was playing competitive TF2, so that was eating up all my time.
That's fair.
And then Apex after that was eating up all my time.
Yeah.
And now I just watch Apex. I haven't been playing it as much.
You've reached peak gamer retirement home.
I hate that it's kind of true, but yeah.
It's so
Like,
true.
I
Like I
can't
would
stand up to these kids anymore. They're just too good.
exactly. I'll watch competitive like professional CS professional Valorant
Compesh.
professional. Sorry, words got tied together. But yeah, I love watching like pro FPSs that I've played before. But like, I can't go down in the trenches anymore. Like playing Counter Strike with some of my friends, it's just like, damn, y'all are too good for me, and y'all actually like obviously like put in time and thought into like your gameplay, and it's like I just can't match that, you know? Like I would love to, but I just don't have the time or energy to like play at that level anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, we have a TV in our room, and because it's a console, I don't have to sit. I can lay down and play video games, and I
Oh
think
no,
that's
the
the
lounging.
big thing.
The lounging, dude.
Literally, I think that's the big thing. I can like because of the way the Switch controllers work, I can have my arms crossed and I can be playing.
Oh yeah.
I can just be like laying down. However,
Yeah.
it's it's great and it's terrible, and yeah, it's been really bad. When I'm at work, I just think about coming home and playing Persona, and
Oh.
it's been a long time since I felt that way about a video game.
I mean, I think that's sick. I kind of miss some of that like youthful, childlike joy and naivete for like just a new game, you know?
Yeah,
I
for
feel like it's hard
sure.
to find that. Because like there's a lot of good games, but it's not quite like that same I don't know feeling that I had when I was a kid. Like for example, I've been playing this roguelike Balatro. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
It's the
roguelike poker, right?
yeah, it's roguelike poker. It's a lot of fun. It's like a sick deck builder. It has like a sick aesthetic. Um, but you know, and I really enjoy playing it, but it doesn't like scratch that like childlike joy of like, oh, I want to see what my homie's doing or whatever, and like you were saying in like the game.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's been real bad. And it's because Persona is such a long game, I'm like, "Oh god. This is going to eat up so much of
Dude,
my free time."
actually,
So that's all
yeah,
I'm going to want to do.
totally. That's actually one of the reasons like I've like stopped playing JRPGs. Like they're just so time intensive. Like it's
Mhm.
great if
Mhm.
when you're like a teenager and you've got like 4 or 5 hours after school to just do nothing. Like it's so sick, and it's like I love world building. I love like stories, and like I love fiction. So it's awesome. But then you become an adult, and it's like there's this like even if a game is like a short JRPG, right? Like it's like only 60 hours to completion or whatever. You're like, God damn,
Yeah,
how many how
60 hours.
60 hours? That but I feel like that's short for a JRPG, no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. But when
yeah.
you're older, it's so different.
I'm like, how many months will it take me to finish this game?
Hmm.
It's just different. Yeah.
See, like it's funny something because you know how I am, right? Like I don't like it's hard. Like I agree. Like it's really really difficult to get into like any games nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Because like there's just a time sink aspect to it, especially if a game has a learning curve, or even if it's just like a single player game, right?
Yeah, but what if you had infinite games?
Well,
But no
shut
pizza,
up.
but no
Shut
games.
up. No. And like I'm generally like it's really hard for me to pick up like new games, especially if they're competitive games. You know what game I've been eyeing recently?
No.
Game.
No, you should know this. No, it's
Should I? I don't
Guilty
know.
Gear. It's actually
Oh,
Guilty Gear Strive.
What?
dude. Fighters though, that's so much learning.
That is a lot of learning,
So
but
much.
I'm a FOMO little shit, and I've been watching friends play it now a lot,
Mm.
and I'm like, damn, the character designs in the game are actually really fun, and that's actually what's really drawing me to the game, because like the character design is just cool, and that makes me want to play it, and it's just that's all it takes, I guess.
You should be playing
Yeah,
it. I think it would be so funny if out of all three of us, you became the fighting game guy.
no, that's kind of why I bring it because I think it's the funniest concept to me that like of all the things, it was a fighting, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll try that
Yeah.
because it's just so much effort to learn that.
Oh, totally. It's like super difficult. And that's the thing. That's why I've started leaning more towards single player games and less like online competitive games. Cause like it's like we said, like I just don't have the time to like go up against the 14-year-olds that are playing like 8 hours a day and destroying me. Like I just don't I can't mentally, stand that.
Hmm.
It's too difficult. So yeah, I think like single player games like roguelikes, like games that like still challenge you, but are kind of more actually set up for you to like overcome the challenge. Because it's
Yeah,
PvE, right? Like
it's I mean that there's a reason why Slay the Spire is one of those games where I'm like, yeah, this is a good game.
you
I
hear
like
they
this game
announced
a
a
lot.
Slay the Spire 2?
I did see that.
Yeah,
I did see that.
yeah, that's crazy.
So I am excited for that.
Yeah.
Now, when is
do
it
you
gonna come
know
out? I don't know.
do you know what motivated me to finally buy a Nintendo Switch?
Yeah, I was wondering that because I know. I mean, maybe getting money and a job that's consistent.
Let's see. Teva, do you have a guess?
Let's it's gonna be a stupid reason.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be dumb. Like, so I don't think it's just having money, financially stable, I can finally afford it.
It's like it's kind of silly, but it's also a good reason.
You wanted to play Mario
It's a
Party.
reason that makes sense.
Okay.
You wanted to donate to charity, and there was a game where the more you play it, the more you get donated to charity.
You wanted to play Overcooked with friends. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. What's the reason?
Have you been keeping up with Nintendo news and happenings?
Oh, is it just like the OLED Switch came out or something, or
That was like
That was a few years ago, buddy.
what?
I
Guys,
have an OLED Switch, and I
it's-
literally got it like 2 years.
It's
3
still
years
2021. We're about to play TF Tuesday, right? Right, guys?
It's TF Tuesday this week. Remember,
TF Tuesday, right?
remember to look at those soldier rollout videos I sent you.
Okay, no, I'm clearly out of touch. No, I don't know what the reason is.
So if the 3DS is being phased out, 3DS
Yes.
and Wii U. So they're
Okay.
shutting
Oh.
down the 3DS servers.
Okay.
ago.
You picking
I'm
up
picking up what you're putting down.
Did you buy a Was there a 3DS game you wanted to play on the Nintendo Switch shop?
No, there's
Oh.
not.
No, it's because of his national Pokemon decks. Once they shut down all the things, he won't be able to transfer them to like the Switch. So that's why he bought his Switch. Because if not, they'll be all trapped on the 3DS.
Oh my
Exactly.
god,
I
dude,
couldn't dare to leave them down there.
that's so funny.
Stuck in
I-
the ether, in the void.
That's
The
so
moment
funny.
he said that, I knew exactly where this was going.
Oh
yeah,
my
I've got
god.
Pokemon from Leaf Green in there. I gotta make sure they make it up.
So,
There's no
for, like,
way they
this
won't.
game, Like, I'm the Pokemon nut at the moment, right? I'm the one who's like, wow,
you are.
look, I like Pokemon a lot. It's my personality trait. I wish I was kind of joking, and I kind of am, but I'm also not. But
Nope.
that being said, prior to that, Luke was that person because he would actually national dex every single game, and he had done that up until I want to say Sword and Shield.
I didn't quite get there with Sun and Moon.
Oh, that's what it
Well,
was.
Sword and
I
Shield would
think
be
it's the
Switch.
version exclusives and the mythicals for that. And because I didn't have a Switch, I didn't play any of the Switch games.
Yeah. So he didn't have Sword and Shield. Did you get Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet?
No, I still haven't.
You're so. That's fair. You're playing Persona now. You're playing
I
Persona.
only got Persona because it was on sale too.
That's fair. I've
Yeah.
heard great things about Persona, so
Yeah, that's what motivated me to get it, because I'm like, oh, it's on console, so I don't have to sit at my computer, and it's on sale.
And now you can legally scream Persona at people. So that's cool.
I don't think that comes with the light game license.
No. It literally says in the fine print. And I know you're not reading that.
Speaking of the fine print, remember to opt out of the new Discord settings if you're still
Phone?
allowed to.
Mobile?
Ooh, what? Do
Maybe
tell.
the date passed for that, but you're supposed to email them something so that you can be a part of class action lawsuits that happen because of Discord.
Whoa!
It's in their new terms and conditions.
That's crazy.
Yeah, maybe I missed the cutoff date, but
I probably
people were
did.
talking about it. Yeah,
That's wild. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with Discord. I feel like this is, as you get older, you just start seeing these things where all these things come and go with the same cycle, where it's like, oh, this new thing shows up and it's like amazing and everyone uses it. And then they have to figure out how to make the thing make money, because the reason it's so sick is it doesn't make money.
yeah. Remember AIM? Remember Skype?
Doesn't Skype still exist?
I think it's on life support or something like that.
I mean, I think
probably.
it got pushed out by WebEx and Zoom for like its function, probably.
Yeah.
Just
Adapt or
COVID.
die.
Adapt or die. But I think Discord is kind of going through that same process of like, damn, how we gonna make money off this?
Anyways, add me on TeamSpeak.
You got Ventrilo or?
I use Slack for all my communications.
Oh my god! Don't get me started on Slack. I
Maybe you
hate
should
Slack.
get started on Slack.
No, Slack is just worse. Discord, if it didn't have the gamer rep, would just be better for businesses.
Can I tell you something about my family that will make total sense?
Yeah.
We,
Oh, okay.
What's your guess? Because you're laughing.
They love Slack. I don't know.
It's a little blindsided, but no, go for it.
Um, my family has a Slack that we use.
No.
Holy shit.
No, you have a group Slack?
Holy
Yeah, it's my
shit.
dad's side of the family.
That's so
incredible.
funny and crazy. They didn't what? You
Yeah.
didn't have WhatsApp or
No, they don't.
That's
Yeah.
so funny. Yo,
It
guys.
really is funny.
Like not even just like a group text, like
No, we have a Slack.
Family Slack. That's so
Incredible.
funny.
Mhm.
Okay, question. Do you guys are you guys part of any group texts?
A couple, yeah.
How about you, Luke?
Well, okay. So there's one group chat or group. So I'm in a. Eric, you and I are both in a couple group chats, and
Yeah,
Tyler, you're in some too. But
Yeah,
the
they're
ones
like-
we're in aren't super active.
Like I know what group. We're all in the same group chats. What do you mean?
No, not like just group chats, but like texts.
Text?
Like
There's-
over text.
There's one I have with
like two.
two of my old coworkers. There's one I'm in with my parents. That's it. And those
Yeah,
are
I'm in,
both
like, two or
like
three.
3-person group texts.
Yeah.
Okay. Because like I know some people who are like rely on them a lot more, but I
Okay.
realize for me, like I don't know if I'm the norm or whatnot, because I definitely am part of all of two.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm pretty sure-
generationally, it makes sense for us
Right.
because so much of our interaction was like primarily online on computer, right?
Yeah. We have like
But
Discord
then
servers.
people who are older than us might be used to texting more, and people who are younger than us all grew up with phones and phone numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my
That-
working
that-
theory.
That would make sense because I just sat there. I'm like, am I a boomer? Like, or like, I don't know if that's even a boomer thing. Like, I don't know. You know, I don't know what.
Am
to
I a
read about
millennial?
that. Just by the fact that like, yeah, I'm on like all of two, and I see some people there. It's just like all their friends are in like one, group text and things like that. Whereas as far as us, we it's all like online. Like we use Messenger a lot, and I get shit for that from some people apparently.
They
Because
don't
used to
know
use
how much
Facebook
of a,
Messenger.
they don't know how much of a cultural monolith Facebook was for a moment in time.
I mean, this is even something that's like big at my grad school. It's like people don't like using Messenger as much because they're, anti, which is fair. Like they don't trust Facebook, they don't trust Messenger or whatever. So they're like, we should use safe and secure messaging apps like Signal and WhatsApp.
WhatsApp is
What's-
considered secure.
WhatsApp, I saw someone talking about how they can get your WhatsApp based on like downloading it from the App Store or something. I didn't quite follow, but someone was being cold called through WhatsApp because they had their
I got cold added
Their
to
phone
a
number.
group on WhatsApp randomly.
yeah,
It was like some random like scammy business group. I'm like, let me leave this shit.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like a lot of I think grad students like using Signal, but I don't like Signal.
That's the first time I've ever even heard of Signal.
Yeah, it's supposed
You're
to be safe
truly
and
in that truly in that
It's
grad school
built.
bubble.
the grad school
Teva.
bubble, literally. Well, it was important because when like there were riots and protests or whatever, they needed to be safe, secure, and anonymous.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
A lot of these companies will comply with the subpoena, so you're not safe, secure, and anonymous if you're using anything.
I totally agree, and it's like I kind of go by the philosophy of like, again, and this is what we were talking about earlier, where it's like people are trading safety, like or security and privacy at the very least for
Mhm.
convenience, and
Yeah.
like, yeah, the reality is like I've adapted to live life and being like I don't have anything important enough to like hide, like
Yeah.
and realistically, and if I did like. It's something little I do, but I'm sure Eric has noticed it. Anytime I'm like sharing passwords, I don't type them out to him. I'm like, join me on a Discord call, or like I'll call you and tell you so you like have it. Like I don't
Yeah.
like writing it out in text form where it can be like presumably just copy pasted
Mhm.
through various means. So yeah, it's like a small thing, but definitely like I
See,
think yeah.
like the badass thing would be to send like one digit of your password through different messaging apps in sequence.
So I'm
And you
gonna
have to,
give
like,
you guys a
cipher it.
cipher. Yeah. We're gonna all have. We're gonna
Yeah.
have the we should hang out more cipher, and every
Unfortunately,
message I
Teva, my eyes are dull.
damn.
Sorry, it's
Yeah.
real bad.
Yeah. No. But yes. Yes.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's one thing where I know only like it's something where I think it's easy for me to be lax in. Like it's something where it's very important to be secure digitally, but sometimes it's so convenient. You can just
I
save your
mean,
password.
realistically, this shit doesn't matter for most people currently. No, like again, this is something I think about where it's like it's not important. Like I'm not important enough to like worry about this. Like not enough people care. I think it becomes more and more important as you like accumulate wealth. But even then, it's like we're not hitting levels of wealth that like people who are trying to like do this like really truly care about, and you just
Hmm.
want to be safe. But like, did you have another point about like the group chats or the group text? Because I think we're all in the same boat where we have like a very few actual group texts, and everything is like through a messenger or a WhatsApp or a Discord.
Yeah, I
thing.
mean, I was just more wondering, like, is it are we stepping away from text, or is it more like just a hallmark of where we grew up in, like maybe because we're more like online? Is
I
that
think
why we're more onto apps, or is are we stepping away from text?
I think
That's what I was more curious.
it's just a dynamic probably within the friend group or the family, Like no one,
Hmm.
I don't think anyone else in my circle has a family Slack, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
I
yeah,
think that's a pretty
y'all are
safe
wild for
assumption.
that
that's
one.
a very unique experience to
Wow.
my family.
Yeah.
And I'm sure many families I know have like a family group text, but we just don't. And in fact, there have been family group texts from my mom's side of the family, and people, my uncle has literally been like, "Stop texting me." It's really funny. He's like
Bro
trying
doesn't
to
know
take
the
a
mute
nap or
function.
something.
Yeah.
He's like, stop it.
Stop spamming my phone.
Basically, stop
there,
blowing up my phone with your love.
there's a do not disturb feature. You can mute. In fact, I mute almost all group texts I'm in because I don't want to get spammed by two people having a conversation in the group text.
And that's really fair, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, you guys, I'll check it when I see the notification. But
Yeah, no, like I wish, these are the times where like, man, it'd be cool if we had a huge audience base because I could put out a poll and be like, hey, so who has a family Slack?
you can,
Well,
you could put out that poll.
There
I
has
think
to
you
be
need
someone
to put a
else.
poll for that. I think there's, you know, my family is one of a kind. What can I say?
Yeah, it's unique. It's unique.
I have to know. There has to statistically be someone else out there that just like certainly, right? With how many people are on the world right now? What, 7 billion? 8 billion?
Yeah, it's a number around that probably.
Like certainly. 8.1, yeah.
I'm sure there is, but like they're not as special as
I
our
would be
one.
I would be afraid to meet them.
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm glad that I'm friends with you now, Luke. Because if I ran into you on the street and I
That'd
just knew
be
you had a family Slack, I'd be like, I don't want no smoke with
I
this
can't
guy.
interact with
You
this.
introducing me to your friends. This is Luke. He has a family
He has a
Slack.
family Slack.
Everyone boos and
I would
throws
put-
tomatoes at me.
Literally.
I would put that as your tagline, honestly. Like you shouldn't try introducing yourself like that to new people
Yeah.
and just see what people react with.
Damn.
Only if I never want to talk to them again.
You
Hey,
know,
that might be more people now.
guys, there's something I've wanted to talk about that I don't think we have the time for, but I kind of want to tease.
Oh,
Oh,
go
you're
for
such
it.
Which
a
is
tease.
something that I'm such a tease. Which is something that some people brought up to me when we made the name change to say, we should hang out more versus Tevin friends and all that.
Mm.
And people sent me links to some search results they found online where it's like, yo, is this you guys? Because there are like 2 or 3 other we should hang out more either podcasts or adjacent like things
Mm.
on the internet, which I thought was
see.
really funny.
Well, I know how to fix this.
How do you how
We should hang out more.
we
Teva.
should exactly we should hang out more. And so by doing
Oh,
that,
that SEO.
we're boost that SEO, and also
Yeah.
we can make more episodes and more content than any of these other we should hang out mores.
Yeah,
And we'll
They're
become
probably
close.
dead in the water already.
Most of them are. Yeah.
They really should have listened to themselves.
They really should have listened. Maybe it's like a symptom that like if you're calling yourselves we should hang out more, maybe y'all aren't hanging out enough and won't hang out more.
Do you think they're still friends?
Do you think they still love each other?
I wouldn't if we didn't hang out more.
Do you guys think we'll be friends forever?
Yeah, never and never and never
And ever
until we die and
Until
ever
we
and
die?
ever.
Yeah. Say yes.
God.
Yeah, with that, I think we should wrap up here. I want to talk about all the We Should Hang Out Mores next time. And
We should hang out more multiverse.
that we should
Yeah.
hang out more multiverse. I don't want to do the acronym. You guys can figure it out in the comments.
You know what a good this would be a lot of work though.
What?
Never mind. We can cut this out if it.
No,
we can cut
this
part out.
no, this is staying in.
No. Because if it stays in, then it's something that people will expect. I don't wanna
Oh,
give you
you're
so much
saying
work.
you should say it and then like we should like clickbait the viewers.
Oh,
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
We
what's-
should get assigned homework
Okay.
where Tevo, you found all of the We Should Hang Out Mores, right?
Okay.
We should each